Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London, and it's my privilege to review another first-class book from the Legal Action Group, the Access to Justice charity. This book has come to us, and it's one that I was excited to look at because as well as being a barrister at law, I am a qualified teacher and I taught special education needs, so therefore I found this book particularly helpful. It's called Special Education Needs and Discrimination in Schools, a Legal Handbook. It's been written by Sarah Hannett, Aileen McColgan and Elizabeth Prochaska. I do apologise if I haven't pronounced the names correctly. The book's available as a book and an ebook, and as I say, it's part of the Education and Service Trust part of Legal Action Group. Now, we've given the title of our review, which is on the web and in the journals, the following: Unpicking a Tangled Web, an authoritative, easy-to-read handbook from LAG on a difficult area of law. And that's exactly what you're getting here, and it's written by experts. Now, this is the book itself. It's a paperback, very much the house style of Legal Action Group. There is the spine, and then there's the back. And you can see there's quite a lot of information on the back. Now, as usual, you've got a little bit of colouring for the appendix side of the book, which is, when I open it, you'll see appendix. There are appendix A, B and C. That's primary legislation extracts, secondary legislation extracts, and the Send Code of Practice extracts. You can see those there. And right at the back of the book, of course, you have got a detailed index. The index is by paragraph numbering. The book runs to 450 pages. That's the start of the index there. And then we go back to the front of the book. This is the actual front page, the main front page. There is the detail about the authors. There is also a note about the link to the website for the ebook. And you've got all the basic detail about the Legal Action Group there. Then you've got a foreword by Jane McConnell, which is certainly something you should read because it sets out, she's a judge of the first tier tribunal covering health, education and social care, and she's a lead judge for Send. Now, I think it's a very important point that Jane makes and is well worth reading, and stated March 2017 comments. Then you've got the preface itself from the authors, and then the contents of the book. Tables of cases, of course, again with paragraph numbering. Tables of statutes, again set out very clearly, and SIs. And we've also got, which I will mention, there's also a little bit of European referencing there, and that will be around for a long time, irrespective of what happens with Brexit. There's the abbreviations section, which I think is very helpful for anything to do with education law, because it is difficult to remember. I find it very difficult sometimes to remember some of these abbreviations, so it's nice to have them there. Then you've got the chapter, and you've got a little index at the front telling you what is in. Then you've got the emboldened sections for key points, and then the legal framework and so on. You can see the structure, the paragraph numbering there, and then you've got, of course, a certain amount of footnoting, which you can see, for instance, there as we go through the book. As I say, the book runs to 450 pages. And it's an important book, this one, without any question of doubt. I'm very glad that LAG have produced it, LAG have produced it. What do we say about it? Well, we say this: lawyers, teachers and other professionals dealing with children and young people with special education needs will welcome this latest publication from the highly regarded Legal Action Group. I certainly do, as a practitioner in this area, and of course as a lawyer, because it is not an easy area for teaching, and I do think it's something where we do need to have as much backup as we can get within the teaching profession, apart from what we do as lawyers. And true to their well-known stated aims, LAG continue to produce authoritative and meticulously researched legal texts and handbooks written by experts who actually insist that such publications should be clearly written and ideally understandable to lay readers as well as professionals. Now, you probably see me laughing a bit there. But the whole purpose of a lot of the Legal Action Group publications is they are very useful for unrepresented parties, the litigants in person. And I will see these books in a courtroom, which means that because they're so well written and clear, it's something the judiciary will take notice of too. And this new handbook, of course, is no exception. It deals with education law in the wake of the implementation of the Children and Families Act 2014, which, as far as this area of education law is concerned, has created a new legal landscape in which the old concept of special education needs, in place under the Education Act 1996, has been replaced by EHC, Education, Health and Care. And in some ways, I suppose it's probably better to have these name changes, but you've got to keep up with the way that they do change these things. And so where formerly these three elements of support, that's education, health and care, were dealt with separately, in other words compartmentalised, the concept of EHC recognises that a child's education and health needs should be viewed holistically. And can I just say, I'm recording this during a general election campaign. I don't know who will win, but it is very clear to me that this is the way we are going. We are moving forward in terms of the political agenda, whoever's in charge. And it certainly does seem to me that we will be looking very seriously, again, certainly at the issues of care and the NHS, with a green paper after the general election in June. Now, writing in the foreword, the tribunal judge, Jane McConnell, MBE, refers to this conceptual shift as the biggest change in the legislative framework in over 30 years. And she's right. The aim for local authorities by 2018, it's hoped, I certainly hope it is hoped, will, in her words, bring the process closer to the original goal of a child or young person being considered as a whole individual. And of course I go back to Every Child Matters, and as I'm sure many people do, and look what happened there. It wasn't, in my view, perhaps as successful as a policy as it might have been. I was fully behind it, but this is, I think, another approach, if I can put it that way, as a teacher rather than as a lawyer. This is where we're actually moving to. So as Jane goes on to further explain, the book is not intended as a simple guide to this area of practice. It's a legal handbook offering in-depth legal research and comment provided by the three editors, who are, of course, experts in the field. It's a reliable resource, of course, which all ag books are, and she adds it can be relied upon to help you unpick what might otherwise be considered a tangled web of legal rights, policy and practice. And of course, to many, that's exactly what it looks like. The editors explain further that this is a book for representatives who appear on behalf of children and young people to the age of 25 in the first tier tribunal, the FTT, and it meets an urgent need for a specialist text in this area of law, and that's really why this has come about. One that's useful to parents as it is to specialist practitioners. Sorry I couldn't go to the book launch, but I'm sure all of these points came out very well indeed. Do also note that this handy paperback volume contains a wide range of research resources as well, including tables of cases, statutes and SIs, and there's a table, of course, small table of European and international legislation and conventions. Let me conclude by saying that almost 1/3 of the book is taken up by the three appendices, which include extracts from both primary and secondary legislation and extracts from the SEND Code. And for carers, educators and volunteers, as well as professionals and local authority officials, we feel this is an ideal reference book to consult on this often very difficult subject. So a big thank you to everybody. The law's been stated as it was at January 2017, although further up-to-date material was added at the proof stage. Let's just have one quick look again at the book. There it is. There's the spine, and then there's the back. And a lovely picture at the front. And again, just opening it, disagreement, appeals to the tribunal, mediation and complaints. You see, you're going straight into the sort of problems that you are going to be presented with by your clients. And again, you can see the structure, paragraph numbering, and again, what I do like is there's not too much. You can see it there. There's not too much footnoting, which I think is a bit of a boon. And as I said, remember the actual shaded bit here, which is where you can find the appendices very quickly. Well, a big thank you to all concerned at Legal Action Group. Again, you've surpassed yourselves in my view with producing this sort of work for us. It makes our lives so much easier, and I personally, and I know many other people, are indebted to you for what you do for us. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.